Can you get rid of the arrow on my head?
Oh, hey, we're live.
Oh, hello, everybody.
How about that?
Sweet.
Okay. So, thanks everybody for joining us. And greetings, fellow Godless Rockers. I'm Steve.
And I'm Tally from Yeah.
Well done.
Joining us here today will be, or is, Noah Lugeons and his bad friend, Eli Bosnick, podcasters extraordinaire of the Scathing Atheist, God-Awful Movies, the Skeptic Rat, and Citation Needed. Noah and Eli, thanks so much for coming on the show today.
Hey, thanks for the invite.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I liked your screams, by the way.
Thank
that was
you.
epic.
I worked on it for a couple months leading up to this. There's been rehearsals. Noah has directed mostly. A lot of pain, a lot of tears. If you've seen the hit TV show Smash, it's mostly based on me practicing saying Monster on Sunday just now. I hope you all got it as much as it is my dark place. So I hope you all liked it as much as I liked doing it.
Eli, on a personal note, I want to thank you for at least wearing clothes for what we can see of you this time.
See, I wasn't sure what kind of audience we had here. Whenever I've done live streams, I try not to wear the chicken suit, so I appreciate credit where credit's due.
Well, I did expect you to be naked, but I guess it's not going to be that kind of show.
Hey, I'll tell you what, we're still early on. Okay, so here's the thing. I can't run the air conditioner in this office, and it's like 94 degrees outside. You know, I can't run the air conditioner while I have this audio on, so we're not naked yet. I'm naked from here down. Like, I have half a shirt on, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's good, you know.
You've seen from Justin to Kelly, he's in exactly that outfit on top and nothing on the bottom.
Glorious.
I have a good mental image now. Thank you so much for that.
There you go. Yeah, big from like Justin to Kelly fan.
Something cut off here with the shirt.
Yeah.
And nothing.
It would be more mysterious if Noah hadn't sent us, his dick pics first.
What?
Oh,
He sent them to you, not me.
Oh.
Well, that would be sexual harassment if I sent it to him.
Yeah. He wants to be a Supreme Court justice. Come on. Wrecking this place. Luckily, we have a 65-person letter saying that Noah has never sent them their penis. We happen to have that prepared. So please, just everyone stop talking about this. Thank you.
All right, so moving on. Diatribes. Christian movie insanity. Becoming experts by reading just one Wikipedia article. Bad politics. And what the fuck? You guys are making music now?
What?
And more on this week's episode of
Godless Rockers.
Also, we want to thank our patrons, our patrons, Joe Davis and Six Spider, for helping make these shows happen. So please support us on Patreon.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, guys. So we're going to kick the show off with a little surprise for you. Are you ready?
Get right to the deep questions that everybody wants to know.
Yeah.
From the two of you.
We're just going to cut right into this. So we're going to play a little game called This or That. And we have 5 challenges for you guys. Are you ready?
Never been more ready. This is like Blue Whale. I started that, by the way.
Okay.
All right.
Suicide game among teenagers in Sweden. Don't worry about it.
Okay. I'm like, I know what we were talking about, of course.
Okay, cool. Yeah, same here. She's in on it.
I'm up on all the best suicide games for Norwegian teenagers. Yeah. Swedish teenagers, whatever it is.
As you should be.
All right, so perfect. So we're going to ask you this or that. Basically, you guys got to pick one.
This is do or die. The rest of your life.
Do or die. Okay.
These are the important questions.
All right.
Number 1 is Metallica or Megadeth?
Oh, Metallica. That's so easy.
Absolutely. Metallica. You said, big fan. I love their song. Desk. Postcard. Microphone. Woo!
Yeah, that is not one that I've heard of. That must be a deep cut.
Yeah,
it's
you
a
gotta
B-side
listen to
or
their
otherwise.
B-sides.
Yeah. No, I would say pre-Black Album Metallica, but after that kind of went to shit.
I'm so with you, Noah.
Yeah, it's just something about Dave Mustaine's goofy cartoon voice that I could never get over.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really? I do like.
Plus, he's super Christian now, so there's.
Oh, is he? Well, shit. You just made it super easy. Okay.
That squelched that one, right?
Yeah, there's certain songs from his early albums that are on the radio that he won't play anymore.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Kill 'Em All was the second album I ever owned. So
That's a good start right there.
Yeah.
I
pretty
approve this
awesome.
message.
I had the full collection when I was young, but Master of Puppets is my ultimate favorite.
yeah, if I
album,
had to pick one, it would be that or Ride the Lightning. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good one too. Very thrashy, Ride the Lightning.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right, you guys ready for? You guys did great on number 1, by the way. We approve.
Nice. Good.
So number 2, Cosmos, Sagan or Degrassi?
Oh wow, good question. You know, I never finished Tyson's. I don't think I ever watched the whole thing, so I don't know that I'm super qualified to do it. But the thing is with Sagan's, like, it holds up 30, 40 years later, whatever the hell it is now. So like, I'd have to give it 30 years before I think Neil could be in the same like category there. So I'm definitely going to go Sagan.
Oh, I'm going to go full Sagan as well. I think that the other thing is the environment in which Sagan was putting that material out was so different and was so controversial. And I'm not to shit on Neil's work. Neil's done some amazing science education work, but Sagan was like the first guy to be like, so we're sure the Earth is round, and I'm gonna.
I don't think he was the first. I don't think he was the first. Well, okay. So here's the thing, though. I watched the first episode of Neil deGrasse Tyson's one, and I noticed a scientific error right away in the first episode. Like when he's flying through the asteroid belt, and all the asteroids seem to be about 9 feet away from each other. I'm like, that's not fucking right. You wouldn't even be able to see one asteroid from another. And I'm like, okay, like, Neil, if I know this shit, you know this shit. You could have done better than that.
Oh, now I'm just picturing some graphics guy sitting in his office with Neil deGrasse Tyson like up against his face. If they were actually within that distance, Neil, if you don't leave, you've got to go, Neil.
Well, for a guy though who makes such a big deal out of like picking apart the bad science in movies and shit, you would think that he would be dead ass on stuff like that, right? Anyway.
Yeah, but did he get to edit any of that? I don't know.
Right. Everyone's a pedant until it's their budget.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, I just snorted. Sorry.
All right, so here's the most intense question of all.
Oh,
prepare yourselves.
All right, this one should be right up your guys' alley. So, God's Not Dead or Expelled?
Oh, God's Not Dead. It's got to be God's Not Dead, because Expelled is bad and painful, but it's not as much fun. I can rewatch God's Not Dead over and over and over. There's always new things to find in God's Not Dead.
Well, and also, like, there's a personal connection to it. God's Not Dead is what basically got awful movies going. That's what made Eli a regular part of our show. So just from an emotional level, God's Not Dead for sure.
It's our high school girlfriend.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, wow.
Didn't realize that. All right. Very interesting. All right. So number 4. This one's probably the toughest one, actually, wouldn't you say?
I have a hard time with this one.
Okay. Here you go. It's top or bottom.
I'm gonna guess Eli's going bottom.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go top. I definitely am gonna go top. There's just
I feel like being a top is rude. Right?
Options there.
Well, somebody's got to go top. Somebody's got to do it.
Yeah. Well, I feel like you want someone else to be like, hey, do you want to be on top? And it's like, we're talking about seesaws, right? We're talking about seesaws. Be super clear.
No, we're talking about sexual intercourse. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case,
I mean, you've experienced
to the
that before,
side, right? Rooting. Hopeful. Begging. Is begging a position in between the top and the bottom?
Moving on, maybe? Okay, yeah. All right, guys. Number 5. This one's tough too, I'd say. Supposedly, Google said it's like the toughest question for Americans.
Google?
Yeah.
You spoke to him?
We did. We had a private conversation.
You and Google? Okay.
Yeah, and they said pizza or French fries?
That's a tough question for people.
Who's that a tough question for?
Yeah.
It's very obviously pizza, right? I'm not a crazy person. Okay.
Definitely pizza. Yeah.
Depends if you like veggies and things.
But what if you want to have a hamburger?
Although
now you can only have pizza as a side?
Well, no, wait a minute. Are you saying like I could have a hamburger with a side of fries or with a side of pizza? Because
No,
I'd obviously have hamburger with a side of pizza. I'd wrap the hamburger in the pizza if I had to.
We think outside the box. This is the key. This is why we're the new horsemen, right? Hamburger wrap pizza. End of faith. God is not great. Hamburger wrap pizza. Right up here.
How is this not a food? Like that is a restaurant waiting to happen.
There is a terrible, food exists in a small town somewhere in America. I promise you, every small town that can't make traditional food well is like, well, what we do here in Bayonne, New Jersey is we take an omelet maker and we wrap it in dough. And then we take that and we electrocute our nearest living relative. We call it the Bayonne.
Well, no, see, the thing is I'm from the Midwest, and in the Midwest, we have this weird tradition of making foods out of already done foods, right? Like everything in the Midwest is like a soup that's already a food by itself added to some other damn thing. So I think that's sort of a natural extension for a Midwesterner.
Yeah, I can see that totally.
Well, there was one this or that question.
There was?
Yes.
I missed one?
I
What did
happen to
miss?
remember it, so I'll just ask it without the cue card.
That one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's going rogue.
I'm going rogue here. God is not great, or the God delusion.
Eli?
God delusion, by far. I think Hitch is a brilliant writer, but sometimes the actual ideas behind his writing, I can't wrap my head around it all. And delusion to me is just a perfectly written argument, almost from start to finish, in just every single line of it. It's the economy of writing. So I got to go with delusion. Hitchens has the style, but as far as like mission goes, I got to go delusion every way.
So for me, this question boils down to which bothers you more, supporting the Iraq War or aborting babies with Down syndrome? So I'm gonna go God delusion because it has more pages, so I look smarter when I'm reading it on the subway. I have both of them on my shelf right behind me, by the way.
Sweet.
Wise choice.
So I'm just, sorry, I'm a little distracted because I'm looking through Andrew Truman, we see you. I'm looking at the live stream. And he made a comment here. He said, didn't Ozzy go Christian too? Yes, he totally did.
Well, he
I don't know if
never went unchristian.
Yeah, he just is super Christian.
This is actually an interesting question because of the recent song that we covered is God is Dead. And it has a question mark. So Ozzy heard this from his doctor, who was quoting Nietzsche, and he decided to write a song about it. So it makes me wonder if maybe he's questioning the Christianity. But when he brought it to the band, they're like, well, you can't really release that song. You can't say God is dead in a song. You can't do that.
You can't make that the title.
Which is crazy because it's Black Sabbath. But anyway.
Yeah. The Black Sabbath and Still Christian don't seem to match up in my mind, right?
Does that mean that in Ozzy Osbourne's mind, he's going to get to heaven and the 17,000 bats he's bitten the heads off are going to be there? And Jesus is going to be like, yeah, man, as long as you ended up with me, come on in.
Well, it's like a communion. It's like a heavy metal communion when you bite the heads off of the bat.
Well, there's a word for it. Well, there's two words for it. Cognitive dissonance.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're not that show. I'm off the air. How do I turn my camera off?
That's okay. They won't have us on their podcast, so whatever.
Okay, but there's more to the story, right? So he's like, okay.
Well, so he said, okay, and they put a question mark behind God is Dead,
So
and he
if it's a
changed a few
question,
lyrics.
It's not
and
so
now it's okay.
offensive.
The band's cool with it. I think this speaks more, not actually to the Christianity or non-Christianity of certain rock bands, but to the environment in which they're releasing their music to. They have so many fans that they need to please. They have so many listeners that are Christian, and they don't want to just go all out anti-theist on them and lose a big chunk of their money because they released this controversial song.
Yeah, that's true. Because like if in the environment, like back then, 80s, 90s, etc. Like I remember,
Well,
like
this
a lot
was
of my
2013.
This is their new album.
Okay, well
New
then
Black
fuck him.
Sabbath.
He has no excuse whatsoever. That's just
I'm just trying to imagine the super conservative Christian Black Sabbath fan. Hey, I like to fucking rock, but this, all right, that is my tautological beliefs. I'm going to buy some adult clothes. My wife has to remove several tattoos. I no longer get to work at the Hot Topic at the mall. My whole life has changed.
I wish that were the truth, because we have, I can't remember the name of this guy, but the super conservative Republican guy from Texas who was using Rage Against the Machine as his
Ted
song.
Cruz.
Ted Cruz, yeah.
Ted Cruz, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, these, it would be so nice if you could make those easy distinctions and be like, these people don't listen to rock and roll because it's not about what they believe in. But no, and they think they should use it for their campaigns and shit like that.
Wow. Ted Cruz rocking out. I love, by the way, this is kind of off subject, but I love how Ted Cruz keeps trying to make Beto O'Rourke look bad, but he keeps making him look really fucking cool. Right? Like as he puts out this, oh, here's Beto O'Rourke playing in a band. And everybody's like, oh, fucking A, man. He looks like he's having a blast playing that bass. And he's like, oh, he sure uses the F word a lot. And people are like, fuck yeah, man. And like Ted Cruz is like, I'm a blobfish. I thought this is how humans worked. Shit.
Would I connect with you if I liked some porn by accident on Twitter? Just like you, my hello fellow humans. I love to watch my species mate.
Next thing we know, they'll be using Just Like You from our band for a pro-life campaign.
For pro-life? What?
The solo is really cool, man.
Yeah.
All right, so I think we should jump into our true interview questions.
Oh, yeah.
By the way,
we're going to get serious.
You guys get a thumb up from me. Thumb up from you? The answers? Yeah. We agree.
Awesome.
3 thumbs up.
So you passed the first level of the game. No, just kidding. All right, so here we go. We have some serious questions for you guys here. So here we go. Noah's diatribes are always beautiful, hilarious, and thoughtful. What inspires you, Noah? What is your creative process?
Well, I wish I had a process, honestly, because like a lot of time, especially now that I've done like 260 of them or so, I sit there sometimes and I just go like, I don't have anything new to say, shit. And then I just like walk in circles until something occurs to me. But the beauty of it is that there's so much to be pissed off about within religion, that basically like, what I do is just pay attention to what I'm yelling about. Like if I don't have anything, then I'll go to like a religious apologetics Reddit or something like that, and then just wait to get really angry, and then I'll just start writing that out.
Oh, I totally relate to you with that, because I have to come up with lyrics for our band, and I relate with like, well, how do I come up with these lyrics? It's a very similar thing. I don't pace around in a circle. That's not a part of my method. But I do similar things like you're saying, whereas I will think on a topic that I'm like currently really upset about. And a lot of my fuel for my fire comes from my brother. I see him do a post. He's super religious. He does some post. Well, you were on one
I do.
recently.
I do. Yeah.
He's like an trained apologetics major. Like he knows what he's doing there. And so I get a lot of inspiration from things I see him do.
He may very well be the inspiration for my next diatribe. Actually, I was thinking about it today. I was like, man, what pissed me off the most this week? Tally's brother. Okay, wait a minute. I got this shit. I got
Hell
this.
Yes.
Cool.
That is awesome.
Very interesting. I'll look forward to hearing that one on your next.
Might be the one after next though, because I think I may have already like started to write the one that I'm going to use this week. But so he might get in next week. We've got a trip to England coming up in a couple of weeks. So I'm like trying to write extra diatribes so that I'll have everything ready to go for that trip. So it might just show up in one of those, but you'll know it when it happens.
Cool. Is that trip something to do with what you're doing here, or is that you're just going on vacay, or are you going to speak and stuff or do something? Yeah.
Well, we're going to QED, which is the like best atheist skeptical conference in the world. I think we've been to enough of them now that we can say, like, definitively that's the best one there is. But we're going to be doing a live record of God Awful Movies in London on October 6th. And then the following weekend is when we're going to QED. So, and we're going to be doing a live thing there. Eli's going to be doing some magic for us on Saturday night. I'm going to be on a panel about podcasting. So it's going to be a pretty awesome weekend. We did this a couple of years ago, but back then we podcast for a living, so we don't have any money. So I couldn't afford to bring my wife last time. So this is going to be her first trip to England. I'm going to take her up to Scotland in the interregnum there, and it should be a lot of fun.
That sounds so cool. That's awesome for you guys that you're able to, go out to other countries and, spread the message.
They're so much more sane there. Even with Brexit, they're so much better than us. Like,
what's amazing is trying to swap stories with people who listen in Britain and Australia, because they're like, oh, mate, I'll get it. All right, my sister, yeah, she goes to church on Christmas. And I'm just like, and she comes back from it and she's like, service was nice, almost an hour. And I'm just like, what? Oh,
you're talking with Ray Comfort about this? Is that
I have one accent. It's just variations.
Well, but if you think about it, consider that like both New Zealand and Australia have sent their worst Christian to America, right? Like Ray Comfort and Ken Ham couldn't find a fucking place in Australia or New Zealand, so they came here. So yeah, that gives you an idea how bad it is.
That's so hilarious. Oh my gosh.
All right.
Are you ready for the next one? You want to take it?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So Eli, I'm calling you out on this one. All right. You seem to truly enjoy torturing your friends by making them watch terrible, terrible Christian movies. What the fuck, man?
I love making people watch good, bad movies more than anything. So here's the thing. Our show started because every time I was over there, I knew they had a podcast and I had done a couple of things fairly early on in it, but I would also just rave to them about every bad movie that was coming out. I'd be like, oh my God, have you seen Sharknado 17? Because I love all bad movies, even though it is currently my job to watch bad movies once a week, and we've done this 160 times. I will never miss a Fast and the Furious movie, ever. There will never, when they're in space and it's a leprechaun Fast and the Furious crossover, I will watch that. I will be the first person on open. I'm in a costume dressed like Vin Diesel. I just cover myself in chicken fat and I'm ready to go. I love good bad movies, and exposing other people to them is part of it. And I think for me, especially, the first like really funny thing I remember being exposed to was Mystery Science Theater 3000. Right, that was such a huge influence, and still is such a huge influence to my sense of humor that it carries through to this day.
Sweet. That's really interesting to know. You have such a great sense of humor. I never could get that mystery theater humor myself. Like I'd watch it and I'd be like, why am I watching this? What is he doing? I don't get it. I never could get it.
I definitely show Mystery Science Theater to a lot of friends and they're just like, dude, are the robots talking? And I'm like, yeah, they're down there. And they're like, no, they're not. And I'm like, ah.
Yeah, that's me. I'm like, well, I don't get it. What's happening right now? All right. But yeah, awesome. All right. Is it my turn?
Yeah, it's your turn.
Okay, sorry guys. All right, it's my turn apparently. So this is probably a doozy of a question, but it's probably expected. Do you guys get interviewed a lot, by the way? Are you used to these kind of questions? Yeah. I don't know. Okay, so here's a question. Were you always atheist, and what's your story with that? And why are you doing what you're doing now? What drives you?
Eli, you want to open this one up?
Yeah, so I was a pretty religious Jew. My father was Hasidic, which is the Jews with the beards and the hats and stuff. He was a Maimonic scholar. And my mom is what I like to call wooish. So she is technically Jewish, but she's really a big fan of crystals and stuff as well. So it's somewhere in between there. So I grew up Jewish and fairly religiously so. I got to college and those things sort of fell away. And I honestly didn't become, actively, passionately atheist until, about halfway through college when, and again, just speaking of Sagan, I heard Sagan's Pale Blue Dot. And that was my aha moment. And I know not a lot of people have those, but my aha moment was listening to Pale Blue Dot and where he says that thing about thousands of confident religions. I remember watching, someone had set that to animation. I remember having just the like, oh, they're all wrong. That's why they're all confident, because they're all wrong. And and from there, as I saw, and I think a lot of us have this experience, as I saw the effect that theocracy had on the world around me, I became more and more passionate about getting rid of the disease rather than the symptoms, right? Because I think most people want to get rid of the symptoms, right? They want to get rid of the bad theocratic things they see in society. Certainly what we would consider liberal people want to get rid of things like homophobia and misogyny and racism. But it often takes that extra step for someone to realize that the root cause of so many of those things and the money behind so many of those things is theocracy, especially in this country. And that's really where I think my passion for atheist activism began.
Amen.
Amen.
So true. Thanks for sharing that. Noah.
So for me, I grew up in a nominally religious family. Like my parents couldn't decide what type of Christian they were, but they knew that they were sort of Christian. So they raised me with religion in the sense that if I asked them questions that had religious answers, they'd give me the standard Christian answer, but their hearts weren't into it. And it was of all the things that my mom did, the one that I most appreciate is the fact that she had decided early on she was going to let her kids make up their own minds on this shit. So that's a really good way to make an atheist. I rejected all the organized religion fairly early on. And then I started getting into Eli's mom's nonsense, right? I started getting into the woo and the Wicca and the neo-pagan nonsense and everything. And that I realized at a certain point, I am actively lying to myself. I am going out of my way to make myself believe things that are obviously untrue. So I think what really happened for me, I don't think I ever would have used the word atheist to describe myself until I'm walking through New York City. And at that point I would have said, I'm an agnostic or I have my own religion or whatever. But I'm walking through New York City and I see one of the bus ads that says, it's okay to be, I can't remember what exactly the phrasing was, but it was one of those, it's okay to be an atheist buses. And I'm like, fuck yeah, it is. Holy shit. If they're just all wrong, everything makes sense. And from that point on, I really embraced that. And unlike when I first got into any of the various types of neo-paganism or mysticism, right away, everything clicked. And every time I learned more about it, I was like, yep, that's also empirically correct. Holy shit. So yeah, I think it was just an honest look at the world around me that made an atheist of me. People ask all the time, why are you an atheist? I'm like, because God doesn't exist, right?
Yep. Yeah, I think an honest look around you is a good way to put it, because I think anybody that looks honestly at the world is going to have a lot of questions, and God is not going to stack up to those answers.
Tally's brother.
Well, the problem with Tally's brother is the looking honestly at the world.
Yeah, no shit. Well, because
that's not happening there.
No, we should fill everybody in on this, because Tally posted the thing that he had sent her about, here are my 8 reasons why I believe in Christianity. At least 5 of them are mutually exclusive. Right? You can't believe 2 and 6. Those don't count. The rest of them are all, oh, I see. Well, you just proved the existence of fucking Thor and Loki and goddamn Allah and the weird Hindu god with all the fingers and shit. It's like you cannot honestly look at those arguments and come to the conclusion that you're not full of shit. So the key for these people anyway is to not look honestly at those arguments.
I think he has... he's a skilled and trained and schooled apologetic speaker. And I would say that what that means is that he does not look honestly at the state. Like what you just said, that's really what he does.
Well, the moment you have to involve the word apologetics instead of evidence.
Yeah, right.
You know where this is going.
Yeah.
That means I don't have evidence, but I'm going to dance around the point with a whole bunch of bullshit so that you think that I do. And especially if you're like a professional, that means that you're going to use a whole bunch of words that nobody understands, explain them in a way that doesn't make any sense.
He's so good at that.
And
he can throw you where you're like, I don't know what to say to this.
Definitions so that people think that you're smarter than you are because you're using fancy words that no one gets in a way that makes no sense. So it's deep.
Well, if you think about it, like that by itself should be enough to settle the argument, right? So if you look at the greatest science communicators of all time, I would say, in my opinion, Carl Sagan, greatest science communicator of all time. What made him great was that he could take these complex issues and make them simple, make you understand them using simple verbiage. The greatest apologist of all time is William Lane Craig, whose entire thing is to make really simple things sound complex. Because like if you strip away the cosmological argument to like the formal logic, it is absolute fucking nonsense. There is no way to explain that in simple English, because in simple English, you're just saying bullshit, right?
Exactly.
So yeah, if you listen to like his debate with Sean Carroll, which is in my opinion the greatest atheist debate of all time, like constantly he's bringing up like Boltzmann brains, not because it's important to the argument, but because he's confident that no one in the audience knows what the fuck he's talking about.
Well,
right? And then Sean Carroll
making sure that they can't follow him.
Yeah, exactly. You can't refute something that you don't understand. So yeah, I mean, the cosmological argument, if you boil it down, is if I create a category that only God would fit into, only God fits into that category. That's the whole fucking argument, right? But you can't just say that. So you got to bring up Boltzmann brains and shit.
Yeah, and then replace it with unicorns.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing too, is like, 90% of all apologetics can be dismissed by, okay, I could also use that to prove that there are gay unicorns that fart out all the rainbows that you see, right?
Hey,
that's my
don't discriminate against the gay unicorns.
Yeah.
Right. Well, right. No, but bisexual unicorns, straight unicorns, doesn't matter. You can use anyone that you want. I usually use gay unicorns because that's really freaky to Christians. You just want to make them a little uncomfortable with the analogy.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks
for
now that
touching
we've
on
gotten
that.
religion out of the way.
Yeah.
What is the idea behind the Skepticrat podcast?
Well, okay, so that started because there were a lot of subjects that started before Eli was part of the show, so it was just me and Heath doing the show at that point, and there were often a lot of subjects that we wanted to talk about that really just didn't have a religious angle to them. It's like I really want to opine on this political topic, but I know that like our scathing audience does have some conservative listeners, mostly libertarian listeners and everything. And I don't want to, it's not that I don't want to alienate them so much, but I want them to be able to listen to Scathing Atheist and not be like constantly like have their political views pummeled. Because ultimately my goal is to try to bring people together with that show, bring atheists together with that show. So we set aside a separate half hour to just talk about the political issues. Heath is a poli-sci major. He has some really, really well thought out and learned opinions on politics.
Hold on. You used a big word there that I didn't understand. Poli-sci.
A political science major.
Sorry. Oh, thank you.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah,
okay. So that was actually an abbreviation I didn't understand.
Yeah. He majored in poli-sci and economics in, what is it, the second ranked college in the country. He's a crazy fucking smart guy. That's
why he didn't join us today.
Yeah. No, he's really well educated. He uses that education to make fart jokes, which is something that I respect quite a bit.
Maybe he will join us in the future.
Sorry, I think you had some momentum going, but
No, you're good. That was the whole of it. Basically, It's just we wanted somewhere to go to make these other jokes and make these other observations. And honestly, we were about to wrap it all up. We were about to stop doing it because it has a much smaller audience than any of our other shows and everything. And it's it's a lot of work to do another podcast. But just as we were about to wrap it up,
Trump.
Yep. And it's like, well, fuck, we can't stop now. So yeah, so we've kept it going, and it's gotten to be a lot more fun because there are so many things that I wouldn't say fun, but it's gotten to be more necessary for us, like cathartically,
Right. Well, it makes sense in the time of Trump that it would not die. I would think that you would have endless things to talk about.
Yeah,
that show.
right. Like during the Obama administration, it was like, what do you want to talk about? There's some funny stuff going on in Nigeria. But yeah, now it's just like, that show could be 3 hours and it could be daily if we wanted it to be.
Well, I think there was a big mistake that a lot of people made during the Obama administration of circling the wagons and saying, "Yep, we won."
Yeah,
and then Trump got elected, and they're like, "Oh shit, people are still racist in America." Really?
Yeah.
I wasn't surprised by this myself, but a lot of people seem to be very surprised that there are racist people in America, and Trump has brought them out. I don't want to go too political, but yeah.
Yeah, nobody who lives in South Georgia was surprised by it. That's for damn sure.
It's for damn sure. Sorry. I don't know that they talk like that there. I don't know.
Oh, they do. They do. And it's funny. My wife is from down here, and like we've lived up north most of the time we've been married. So like she's mostly lost her Southern accent, except when she talks to her family down here, and then she becomes completely redneck. It's so funny to listen to.
We're writing a song right now called G.I. Jesus that I do that on.
Oh, nice.
I do the whole accent, and it's military-like.
G.I. Jesus is going to be a lot of fun because
it's a good song.
It's super catchy. I think that I'm going to need to be drunk in order to be able to perform the slide guitar parts in the studio.
Oh.
Like, I did them in one take for our demos, and I don't know how I'm going to possibly reproduce them. But
because you literally did it by accident. It's all,
but it sounds perfect.
Like he plays guitar horribly, but it works because we're projecting that we're that person.
It's all horribly in key and in time, but
it is.
Slightly drunk. I don't know how to explain it, but I can't wait to try to make that happen in the studio.
We could play it right now for you guys.
No, we can't.
No. Okay, never mind.
No.
It's a badass song though. It's gonna be amazing. I'm up, huh?
Yeah.
Let me see where we're at. Sorry,
somehow
guys.
we've silenced Eli. I don't know what's going on.
No, I'm here.
Still there? Oh.
I'm here.
We didn't have anything interesting
Actively listening
to comment.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. I think I only have one more question, and we probably will close this up pretty soon, right? This one?
No, we didn't ask this one. We didn't ask that one.
Oh, okay. Me then?
Yeah, you can do it.
Okay. So Citation Needed seems to echo the deep research we do for Godless Rockers. I mean, just reading one article in Wikipedia is not enough research to make you an expert, right?
Says nobody nowadays. I mean, so have you ever been to Facebook?
So one of the things that we
loved.
What is
this Facebook of which you speak?
Lucky.
That's the old person's app.
I mean, so one of the things that sort of inspired Citation Needed is that we would get together with Tom and Cecil for things like Vulgarity for Charity or other projects, and we'd have such a great time. We'd come away from it saying, we would have a good time making fun of the phone book with those guys. And so we tossed around a few ideas at first, a quiz show model, and then a couple of other ideas. But this idea of making fun of Wikipedia, more importantly, having this sort of huge source of material to draw from and letting our own interests infuse the show really worked out pretty perfectly. And so we submitted a couple of early episodes to patrons, and that overwhelmingly got the best response. And since then, the show has just sort of grown into its own creature and its own culture. It's been just an absolute delight to do. I mean, we're recording it tonight, and there's always, when I have one coming up, I'm like excited all Monday. I'm looking forward to recording all Monday.
I will say between us, I cheat like a motherfucker, and I use like 11 sources when I do my essays, and it pisses everybody else off because I'm like drawing from like like 6 or 7 different Wikipedia articles, and then books that I've read, and then other articles from other sources and shit. So I cannot make myself pretend to expertise to something I don't really know about. But we did the one article thing because like everyone, like we take turns doing essays, and I don't want to like force Eli to read multiple things.
Sometimes I don't read the article that the essay is based on. I'm just like, great.
Yeah. Give it to the movie forum.
Yeah,
give it to the movie form. Like say, Eli, this is the worst movie you'll ever see.
I watched the movie on Chernobyl.
He'll watch it, no problem.
Yeah, Wikipedia, the movie.
I'll watch that.
Yep. All right. Well, I don't have much to add to that.
I do.
If I'd read more than the Wikipedia article, maybe I would.
Well, actually, I just want to say thank you guys so much for creating all of these interesting podcasts for other atheists out there to be able to, listen and hear stuff, or religious people too that come in. It's good to have voices out there. The more, the better. The more, the better. I mean, as you guys know, Christianity has completely saturated the world online, on radios, on Sirius satellite radio, like everywhere you go, it's Christian this, Christian that. Like there's a ton. It's completely overdone. And we have this tiny voice. It's so small. And I appreciate you guys so much for what you guys are doing. And you just keep trying new ideas, and you're inventive and you're so funny. And I just want to say thank you for what you're doing. And it means a lot to us, and I'm sure other people who listen to you guys.
Well, thanks. And hey, same back to you guys. I mean, it's really awesome to because like a lot of times when I listen to music that I like, I have to just kind of like do this as I'm listening to the fucking lyrics and stuff. We appreciate the same thing from you guys.
Oh, thank you so much.
Right on.
All right, Steve, you got the last question going on here?
Well, there's more questions, but I have
just this one.
Yes, I have a question for you guys. So, what's this about an album that I hear?
The Singing Atheist?
Yeah, what's going on?
That's right. So, if you've listened to a few of our shows, you know that we like to make fun of songs that appear in the movies that we do, and then occasionally we're hit by something like Oxford, Alabama, being the first place down south to do a trans person band that inspires my brilliant wife Anna to write a song. Usually, I do lyrics, and she does literally everything else.
Does she sing?
Yeah, she sings, and her album actually came out last year. And she is a brilliant folk musician and singer-songwriter. And so we have worked together over the last couple of years creating songs for our show. And we have a Patreon goal up on Scathing Atheist right now. And when we hit it, we will release some of our favorite of those, some old ones, some new ones, maybe some redos of some of the old ones as well, into the Singing Atheist, which is going to sort of be a compilation / reinvention of a lot of the music that's been across our shows.
Yes.
So reinvention of a lot of the music. That basically means you're going to take a religious song per se, and then you're going to sort of like cover it, but like rewrite the lyrics so that it's atheistic.
Yeah. So
my understanding.
Yeah, so we've done that with a couple of them for the movies that we've done, but mostly our songs are just original songs that are about subjects that we're covering. So we have the Go Take a Public Shit in Oxford, Alabama, which we wrote about their trans bathroom ban. We have songs that we wrote for our like ads and stuff. One of the most popular songs we've ever written was the survey song. So we had to do one of those podcast surveys for our listeners for advertising. We wrote a Please Take the Survey shock jock rock ballad. And that's been one of the more popular songs. And then, of course, we've covered popular songs as sort of satires of the ones that we've done. So we did God Is Dead after the God's Not Dead by the Newsboys. We did I Hate This Fucking Movie, which is a satire of I Wish We'd All Been Ready.
I think we did one of Jesus Take the Wheel too.
Yes.
Keep both hands on the wheel.
Both hands on the wheel. Yes. So that's sort of it's either our original pieces or things we've done as satires of songs we've heard or been exposed to. And then, of course, Noah and Heath wrote a tremendous amount of music as part of the Holy Babel before I was part of the show. And so one of the things that we may do on the coming album is redo some of those songs. I know, for instance, that we want to redo Noah's absolutely gorgeous Je suis Charlie, which he wrote and performed on the Charlie Hebdo episode of the show. So we're going to maybe do a re-record of that. And some of the older songs we just like need to re-record because they were working on older mics or they were working on older equipment. So we're super excited to put it together. And as of now, we are creeping towards that goal. We're very excited.
So are there any tasty solos that I should expect for this album?
Oh, always.
Okay.
Well, I'll tell you what, it very much like the work that you guys do. It's really lyric based, everything that we're doing. It's comedy. music. So now Anna is a spectacularly talented musician. She plays violin and ukulele and anything else with a string on it anywhere. So like if we like let her unleash musically, it would be absolutely beautiful. But we also recognize that we need to stay in our fucking lane. Our lane is doing comedy. So that's primarily what it is. But yeah, we've got some songs that like, I wrote songs for the first 5 books of the Bible. And well, I actually wrote poems for every book of the Bible and then turned some of those into songs. So we're going to have some of that stuff on there as well. It should be a lot of fun.
Well, if you need any guitar solos, I might know a guy.
All right. Well, I will say the Leviticus song that I wrote, as soon as I heard your guys' album, like the first thing I thought is like, oh God, I would love it if they could cover my Leviticus song. That would be so much fucking fun because it's definitely like kind of your style in terms of like, what we're going for in the feel of it. So we'll talk offline.
Sounds good.
Yeah, totally. We should definitely talk about that.
All right. And then last but not least, you want to go for it?
What? I was going to say that we had ideas for songs for them.
Go for it.
Totally ad-libbed. It's not here, though.
Yeah, let's do it.
We had some ideas for songs for you guys because you're on the satire level. And by the way, we've got a tour one day. If we ever do be able to like headline our own tour, we want to have all kinds of, bands and groups and atheist music going on.
Yeah.
That would be so much fun. And also comedians. We have a vision of, no, we don't have to go there. Yeah. But anyway.
20 years from now.
Do you remember some of the we were thinking about this a lot because we were going to talk to you guys?
Did you write it down? Because I don't remember.
No, I didn't. We had some hilarious ideas for you.
Well, now we brought it up, and in the middle of the show, don't remember them. That's good.
Oh, great.
That's great.
We had like 3 or 4 really hilarious. We were like crying, laughing, like we have to tell them about this idea.
Oh, I remember one.
What?
Take this gown and shove him.
No more.
Yeah, that's a good one.
We had like a 10.
There's a couple more.
There was somebody. We'll send them
we
to you later.
We should have written this shit down.
I know we should have, but we were just
what's awesome about not doing live is editing, right? Like we have this shit happens to us all the time, and it's just like nobody ever hears it though. So
I come in, I'm like, no, I've got the best joke, and he's like, no, you don't.
Well, the thing is that we were doing many episodes that were edited, and I realized that I had 0 time to actually write music because I was editing video all of my life.
Well, that's I guess editing the video is way tougher than just doing the audio. And also we outsource that now, so that's kind of nice.
Oh, I wish. I'm working on a music video right now, and I'm adding After Effects. And if you've never added After Effects to a music video where you have to cut out everything because you didn't do it on a blue screen because you didn't know you're going to do that, it's like taking an ice pick and hitting yourself in the balls over and over again.
What?
For fun.
But like in a bad way.
But in a bad, you mean that negative way.
Is there a good way to hit yourself in the balls with an ice pick?
I also want to be Supreme Court justice.
Like if you like you can't stab down, but if you just smack, or use the handle. There's all kind of.
I have a letter from like 65 people that I did not hit in the balls.
Clearly, he didn't show you the dick pics I sent. So
I didn't get to see him. Only Steve was privy to that.
The flip book
Thanks, Noah. I see who you like best.
I need my personal time, okay? That's before you're awake.
Okay.
All right. So on that note, do you have any questions for us?
I normally would, but it's about 98 degrees in my office right now, so no, I don't. How about you? Do you have any questions?
It's time for a cold shower before he dies. All right. So.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's easy.
Well, thanks again, Noah and Eli, for being a part of the show.
Thanks so much for having us, guys.
It's been a blast.
It's been so much fun. And if you guys who are watching out there want to learn more about these guys we're interviewing, please check out any of their hilarious podcasts and please support them on Patreon.
Yep. And we also have music merch and more. We have a promo going on right now in the description box below. If I've added it to the description yet, I don't know.
It will be there soon.
It will be there soon, I promise. Also, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. That one. And so you never miss an episode. Until next time.
We're
Monstrous!
Thanks for joining us on
Godless Rockers.
Bye, bye, bye.
Goodbye.